Hello, I'm Congresswoman Terri Sewell, and I want to thank you for joining me for a very special Veterans Day edition of Terri Talk. On Veterans Day, we take a moment to honor the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms that we enjoy. There is no greater act of patriotism than choosing to serve as a part of our nation's armed services. It is a brave and courageous path that demands incredible personal sacrifice. I speak on behalf of the entire congressional delegation, as well as the 7th Congressional District, in saying thank you to all of our veterans for their service. For the state of Alabama, Veterans Day holds a special significance. In fact, it was a Birmingham native, Raymond Weeks, who fought to expand Armistice Day to include all veterans, thus establishing what we now call Veterans Day. With an idea in his mind and a vision in his heart, he led a delegation to Washington, D.C., where Mr. Weeks met with then Army Chief of Staff Dwight Eisenhower to plead his case. His passion and conviction stuck with Eisenhower, who signed the bill into law after he became president. To this day, November 11th remains an important marker for us to collectively pause and pay homage to the incredible men and women who have risked their lives for our country. And the day itself was made possible thanks to the efforts of one Birmingham man. We in Alabama have a strong and proud military connection, boasting 4 active military bases. And in the Congressional District of Alabama 7th, we are home to 2 Air National Guard bases, the 117th Air Refuel Wing in Birmingham and the 187th Fighter Wing in Montgomery. This year, as a member of the House Armed Services, I had the opportunity to tour some of our military installations to get a firsthand look at the critical work being done to support our national security. We in Alabama are a fearless people, unafraid to stand up and fight for what is right. We are loyal and patriotic with a love of country and a love of duty that is never diminished, even in the face of hatred. Look no further than the Tuskegee Airmen. When told that they could not fight on behalf of their country, these American heroes refused to take no for an answer. After decades of advocacy, they successfully established their right to fight for this country and risk their lives to protect our American ideals. I want to take a moment to specifically acknowledge the contributions of our African American veterans and their unique service. Our African American veterans have not only fought our enemies, they have had to fight for their rights, even in their native land. Imagine loving something so fiercely that you are willing to march, to protest, to advocate for the honor of risking your life to protect it. That is the depth of the love of country that our African American veterans have so fiercely displayed. Thank you not only for your unparalleled success, but for teaching us the depths of patriotism through action. Each and every day, I'm honored to work on behalf of our service members and the nearly 400,000 veterans in Alabama who we are proud to call our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, and family. I take very seriously my responsibility to ensure that they get the resources that they have earned and deserve. Last Congress, with my support, Congress passed the PACT Act, which represents the largest expansion of veteran health benefits in 30 years. The law expanded eligibility for VA health care for those exposed to burn pits and other toxic substances during their service to our nation. Already, veterans have submitted over 1 million PACT Act claims, including 3,377 from veterans in Alabama's 7th Congressional District. More than $2.4 billion of earned benefits have been awarded to veterans and their survivors. Over the years, I am proud to have hosted numerous veteran resource fairs to help our veterans find assistance with VA benefits, transportation resources, health screening, housing options, mental health services, and so much more. We must never forget the precious gift of freedom that is preserved because of the dedication, courage of our nation's veterans. We owe them an immeasurable debt that we can never repay. It is now my honor to welcome two veterans from right here in Alabama who have shown us the true meaning of service and sacrifice. Joining me is Colonel Gregory Clark and Lieutenant Colonel Carolyn Culpepper. Thank you both for taking the time to join us on Terri Talks. To start off, can you tell us about your service in our nation's armed services and what Veterans Day means to you? I'll start with Lieutenant Colonel Culpepper.
Well, I stand proudly on the shoulders of many veterans that served before me. Veterans Day to me is a day that our country shows its gratitude to all veterans that has served and sacrificed for this country. I truly feel that Veterans Day should be honored every day.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about your military service?
I joined the military in 1974 as an enlisted. I was in high school, and shortly after high school, I entered into the military in the Women Army Corps, which is called the WAC. And from there, I accepted my assignments. I accepted all my assignments and continued to go forward into college in the ROTC program at Alabama A&M University.
Very good. Well, we thank you for your sacrifice and for your service. I know that you're also a part of the U.S. Army's reservist as well. And we just really thank you for your service. Colonel Clark, can you talk a little bit about your military service, what led you to the military, and what Veterans Day means to you?
So my family is a military family. Dad, uncles, I think we got every service. Well, we don't have Navy. We got every other service inside of my family. So it was a way of life for me. And so I enlisted as well while I was in college at Florida A&M University. And from that point, went on to officer candidate school and got my commission as a second lieutenant. And that journey kind of started. Veterans Day for me is that time to pause, to remember those men and women who laid it on the line, sacrificed their time, their blood, sweat, and the tears, and more importantly, being away from their families. And also, while we think about Veterans Day, I always think about the families because they serve too. So it's a time for us to stop and pause and kind of remember why we do what we do, to make sure that we can enjoy the freedoms that this country allows us. And it has been a joy and a pleasure to put on that uniform every single day that I served for those 33 years.
Awesome. Well, I thank you both for your service. I would love to know what motivated you to join the Army, join the armed services. I know for you, Colonel Clark, it probably was a long list of family members that encouraged you. But can you talk a little bit, sir, about what motivated you? And then Lieutenant Colonel Culpepper, will you then talk about what motivated you as well?
So, the family had something to do with it, but I think more it's just duty and service to country. Once I got in, I said, I'm going to do 10 years, and then 10 turned into 20, and then 20 turned into 30, and then a few more until they said you got to go. But I think for me, it was the enjoyment of serving our country, leading troops, mentoring, and the professional development that I received in the military, I use today, even in my position at Alabama State University. You're getting a great education about life while serving in the military, and of course, understanding that we can be harmed any day. And so it gave me great pleasure to know that I would lay it on the line every single day to make sure that my family had the freedoms of this country.
Absolutely. Carolyn, can you tell us a little bit about what motivated you to enter military service? And what, I mean, when I think about the military, so many great life skills. I think Colonel Clark touched upon it. Life skills are taught in the military, but I think of the most being leadership. Like, I feel that there's no greater task that I have than to be able to appoint to the Military Service Academy young men and women in our district. And it is something that I take very seriously. It's life-changing for so many of the young folks. And so what would you say to young people who are thinking about a career in the military, and what motivated you?
Well, first, as I stated, I graduated from Woodlawn High School and was among the first group of female students participating in the ROTC program. And upon finishing high school, there was no money. My mother was a single parent for 6 children, and she would tell my brothers, you either go into the military or get a job and get skills. So I decided to follow in their footsteps. And although they joined the Marines and I went into the Army, however, one brother, Casted, was sent home draped in a flag. And we take it very serious when we talk to kids about the military. I also joined just knowing that when I finished all of my assignments, I would have an opportunity to go to college. And my dreams was completed. I had the opportunity to have skill sets, experience, and a degree that I did not have to financially pay for. So my mother dreams was completed as well.
Well, I thank you for your family taking the ultimate sacrifice in losing your brother. Do you know, Colonel Clark, I know that you are with young people all the time at Alabama State University as helping with its alumni program and the like. Can you tell us what kinds of skills that you learned in the military help you every day on your current job?
So I think, reaching the rank of colonel, of course, you at that time command a lot of troops and a lot of equipment and manage a lot of equipment. So for me, taking those skills and inserting that discipline, not only in my staff, stopping to talk to these young men and women across campus every day about what's next for them in life, it gives me a lot of pleasure. The education, the discipline that the military instilled in me, I give it out every single day I walk across that campus. And I would like to think that, those mentorship sessions are changing kids' lives. And I think I'll start to see some of the benefits from it. I've inserted myself in to help in the ROTC program here quite a bit, visiting them often, helping out where I can, because those are the next young men and women that will be commissioned here shortly to go out and serve our country. So I want to take what I got through the 33 years and a lot of stuff that I saw during my time in the military, and hopefully I can instill that in some of these young men and women around campus.
Lieutenant Colonel Culpepper, what talk to me about being a woman in the military? I would think that being a female in the military means that your experience may have been a little bit different than Colonel Clark. I know both of you as Black servicemen and women have your own journeys as well, but can you talk to the ladies, the young ladies who may be listening, about being a woman in the military?
Well, as I stated earlier, when I first joined the military as a WAC, it was just women. Mm-hmm. And later I was assigned with men, and that was quite a challenge. And being assigned with men, although we all wear the uniform and we're under the same discipline, we have to really work hard to be respected and take our place as a soldier. So I tell women all the time, do not be afraid of that challenge. Go forward, because in the end, the respect you will receive, the lifelong friendship and relationships you develop with others and their families is greater than the challenge from the beginning.
Very good. Very good. You know, we often don't, when we think of those soldiers that are fighting overseas, we think of only men. And we know that over the years, through the bravery and courage of veterans such as yourself, that you've paved the path for women to now be helicopter pilots, for them to be, you know, to do and be seen as the same person who does the same kind of service that our men do. And so I want to thank you. Hats off to you for that. Can we talk a little bit about your what your expectations were when you got out of the military, when you retired, and talk to us about the kinds of benefits that you have, and talk to us about what we could do better. You know, I think that we in Congress have to do better when it comes to the health care of veterans and our servicemen and women. That's often on the front pages of papers. But what has been your personal experience with the VA, with trying to access the benefits that you've earned? Colonel Clark, can you start?
Yeah, gladly. So I retired last July 1st, and certainly, you know, there's a transition where you kind of start to ease out of that military frame of mind and back into a civilian world, but you never actually, you know, get rid of it. And I don't ever want to. So my journey has been understanding what's available to me. I'm currently battling the VA right now for my own benefits. I've got some, but it hasn't been an easy road. And I think that the challenge that we have is a lot of vets don't even try to get them because they believe that they're going to be turned down. And it's been a systematic problem with just them saying, no, you don't deserve this. I think for me, spending 33 years and what I've encountered, I deserve them. And certainly I'm going to continue to fight for them. But I think, you know, making that transition easier so that the vets don't have to battle so much with the Veterans Administration to get their benefits, and people maybe just sitting behind the desk saying no just because, you know, that's not good. And it makes a lot of people just go away. My own dad been fighting for many, many years to finish getting his, and he's been out since the late 80s. And so it's a deterrent. It seems like when you come out that you're kind of deterred from even trying to get your benefits. So that's what I've encountered personally, and hopefully we can make that transition.
You've earned that. Yes, absolutely. You've earned that. And I have to tell you, one of the things that was most disheartening for me when I became a member of Congress is to see how many veteran benefit cases that we had in our office. I want all of our veterans to know that if you're in the the 7th Congressional District, and you're having problems accessing your health, your benefits, your veterans benefits, please call our office. We are here to assist you in that journey. And often it takes a call from your member of Congress's office to get things moving. It's unfortunate, but I want you to know that we stand ready to help. My Birmingham office, the telephone number is 205-254-1960. And of course, you know, we have offices in Selma, in Tuscaloosa, as well as in Montgomery. And so we're here to make sure that you have an advocate in the system, if you will, to help you access those benefits. It is unfortunate, as you said, Colonel, that so often we have to battle with the VA system in order to get the benefits that you've rightfully earned. I do also know that that being a veteran, you probably get better interest rates on your mortgages. There are lots of benefits to being a veteran. I know that whenever I go to Home Depot and I'm in line the veteran gets an extra discount, and I say hats off because they have earned it. And so from the from the small discounts that you get in stores to the amazing opportunities that being a veteran we try to provide in terms of mortgages and other things. Can you talk to us, Carolyn, a little bit about your experience in accessing those benefits that you need?
Well, upon retiring in 2008 from active duty, I actually attended a retirement seminar. And that seminar was very instrumental with me applying for my disability. I was in Walter Reed 2 years as a wounded warrior, and being discharged on medical. Going through that seminar was so important. I had an opportunity to join DAV. I had an opportunity to apply for my disability before my retirement date. I received information on how to make appointments at the VA prior to being discharged. So my appointments were already made and in place by the time I returned back to Alabama. But I would like to say that we need to make that availability maybe mandatory, because it was a choice whether I signed up to go through that retirement training. So if we can make that mandatory for each soldier, each veteran, before they retire or discharge from the military, they will have a roadmap to go through the VA system.
That's great suggestion. You know, I sit on the House Armed Services Committee, and my subcommittee is military personnel. So I will be taking back that suggestion. And I may have to get you to come and talk with us about your experience and why that's so important, that you get a primer, if you will, of how to apply for the various benefits that you can receive before you actually retire or are discharged. That's a great, great suggestion. You know, one of the pleasures that I have is of encouraging our HBCU ROTC programs. You kind of touched upon that, Colonel Clark. I think it's so important. We have an awesome history in Alabama with the Tuskegee Airmen of African American veterans, servicemen and women, fighting so valiantly for our country, and often not being given the respect that they deserve until much later in life. Can you talk a little bit about our ROTC programs and HBCUs in particular, and what we can do to foster them and to grow them?
I think they're one of the most important mechanisms that we have in supplying servicemen and women to our armed services. I think it's a training ground over those 4 years for mentorship, esprit de corps, teaching them how to lead, problem solve. And I think those individuals that enter ROTC are able to take that back over to the classroom too. It makes them a more disciplined student. I think that one of the things that within our ROTC programs that I'm starting to see is the funding needs to be there, because a lot of schools, what would happen is a kid may get a ROTC scholarship and it pays all tuition, but that room and board is still sitting out there. So how do you get it done? Those schools that have the resources to step in and a lot of time pick up room and board are able to get the best and the brightest of those ROTC students. So I see that as a gap too. I think that ought to be kind of examined, that, hey, if you get a full ROTC scholarship, it should be completely paid for all the way across the board, as opposed to just tuition and maybe books. So I think, though, you know, to supply African American officers, that's where you're gonna get them from, your HBCUs, right? And so we've got to make sure there's a mechanism there to recruit them from high school ROTCs and make that pipeline a lot easier and on into those ROTC programs. And also, Congresswoman, a lot of kids don't even know that you can go, there are slots from Army Reserve, Air Force Reserve, Navy Reserve, right to the academies that go unfilled every single year, but they don't know. So there's an education process that needs to happen around that as well. I
agree. Lieutenant Colonel Culpepper, can you talk a little bit about how ROTC and is a great recruitment tool for Black excellence and Black talent? That pipeline, as we've been talking about, is so critically important. I know it sounds like you started ROTC in high school, but I know that at Alabama and A&M, I'm sure you were very active as well.
Yes. It's a wealth of talent and knowledge in our HBCUs. And when Colonel Clark stated about the pipeline from high school to college, if we can show more visibility or examples of what you can receive once you retire, just as students will go to an internship if they want to go to medical school. They'll go to an internship maybe at Harvard University or Princeton. That same opportunity should be for those students in ROTC to maybe go to military bases, go to the Pentagon, go and see active soldiers actually working and performing their skill set.
That will give them the motivation. They say you have to see it to be it. And so sometimes just giving our children the exposure to what it means to be a service member and what the benefits are. I couldn't agree with you more that I think that a lot of it is just lack of knowledge, and knowledge is power. And so I'm just so happy that both of you have on this Veterans Day agreed to talk to the folks in Alabama's 7th Congressional District about the journey, your own individual journey, the collective journey. I am just thrilled that you all are here. I wanted to close by just giving you an opportunity. If the President of the United States were sitting here instead of me, what would you tell him would be the one thing he should do to benefit veterans? I'll start with you, Carolyn.
Well, first, I would thank President Biden and Congress for the new PAC Act. I recently attended a class with Biggs, Blacks in Government on the PAC Act, and it was a wealth of knowledge. And I would also ask him to put the resources in place to help veterans complete the paperwork and their medical records and the roadmap to receive those benefits without having a denial first.
Very good. I echo that. I have heard that from lots of veterans. What about you, Colonel Clark?
So for me, I would also tell him thank you for all that he's done, of course, as a senator and then vice president and president. And I would always also say to him is, do not take your foot off the gas. We may be free here, but there are still people that want to harm us throughout this world. And we got to continue to put the resources in military readiness. It cannot be a lull after we've stopped current operations as we had been in Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and then we're not ready when the next ramp up happened. We saw it. We saw the lull after the Gulf War, and we had to quickly throw resources back into the military to get ready for the next encounter. So do not take our military men and women for granted. Give them what they need so they can do the job. And that's what I would tell them. Do not take your eye off the ball.
Both are very good suggestions. I didn't ask you the question that probably I should have at the very beginning, but I would think that your experience as an African American in the armed services also sets you all apart. Can you talk a little bit about your experience as an African American in the military? You want to start, Colonel Clark?
Yeah, I can certainly do that. Making it to the rank of colonel was hard, and I'll even say lieutenant colonel. My promotion board was the last time one of my heroes, Senator John McCain, actually chaired the Senate Armed Services Committee. To make it to the rank of a field grade officer in the military for an African American is extremely, extremely tough. The higher up you go, the same thing on the listed side, when you start getting closer to master sergeant, sergeant major, it is tough. It was tough getting here. I had to take jobs that nobody else wanted to do to ensure that I had the we call it a paper to get me where I needed to be. But I think taking those jobs made me a better person, better man, and it allowed me to get to the rank of colonel, which, you know, those promotion boards get tighter as you go up the ladder. So I would tell everybody is you can attain that rank when you meet the top 2% of the military at this point, but find your mentor, hook onto them. Don't stay stagnant in one place. Go work for a congressperson. Touch everything you can touch so that you're well-rounded and you're ready when it's time to make lieutenant colonel, then brigadier general, on and on. But it was tough, but I've enjoyed the journey through it.
You know, I'm glad you said work for someone from Congress. You know, one of the programs that I signed up is to get a military fellow. And so during my time in Congress, I've had 2 military fellows. I even had a disabled veteran as a fellow in my Birmingham office for 2 years, which was just, I think that just helped us as a office really understand the challenges that veterans have in accessing their benefits. We got it from a firsthand experience, and it made our office, I think, a lot more efficient and effective in representing our veterans. Lieutenant Colonel Culpepper, can you talk a little bit about your journey, not only as a woman, but as an African American in the armed services?
Well, as an African American woman, it was quite a challenge for me, working side by side with men who has not accepted women, nor has they accepted African Americans. And having that, I had to stay focused. I continued to learn all I could learn. I did have a mentor. I utilized my chain of command any way possible, whether it was to take a new specialty training class, etc. I was always trying to prove myself. And to this day, it's the same when you go out, volunteer, and try to help soldiers. It's a different platform for them when they see women, and they go like, you are a colonel, especially my older veterans and comrades. And then they start their story. I never saw a woman in uniform until, well, you were in the Korean War, of course. So it's challenging, and it was, but once you learn your skill set, or while you're learning your skill set, get you a mentor, get a buddy plan, and move forward.
Very good. Well, you both have offered some wonderful advice. I hope that to the listening audience that you've enjoyed as much as I've enjoyed listening to these 2 veterans that are right among our midst in Alabama and in Alabama's 7th Congressional District. I want to thank you both for coming on today. And I want to thank you for your sacrifice, your personal sacrifice, your family sacrifice, and the sacrifices that I know all of our veterans make each and every day, because I know it is a challenge. But I also want you to know that you have a Congresswoman that's going to continue to fight to make sure that our veterans get the benefits that they've earned, and that we put processes in place that are easier for folks to be able to access those benefits, for our veterans to access those benefits. Both of you have given me a challenge. You've also given me some great advice. I think I'm taking back what you said, Lieutenant Colonel Culpepper, with respect to having maybe a mandatory exiting seminar for our veterans, so they actually know exactly what they should be doing. And if you can start some of those processes before you retire, I know that that's a benefit as well. So again, thank you all. And to our listening audience, thank a veteran today. Thank a veteran every day, because we know that the freedoms that we enjoy are only made possible by the sacrifice of blood shed, the tears of those who are willing to serve and protect us. So thank you both for being here today, Colonel Clark and Lieutenant Colonel Culpepper. Both of you have been exemplary servicemen and women, and also veterans, and I'm honored to call you friend. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned to the next Terri Talk.